might appear 2711096. The word is listen. Okay, auditory learners. Faris still there? These learners would rather give an oral presentation than written work. Okay, auditory learners. Faris, very. These learners could read their notes into a recorder and then play their notes back to study. Where is Zaid? I don't see Zaid. Zaid, you use Faris? No? Okay, auditory learners. Okay, still there, Faris. Copying and recopying your notes helps these learners to study better. Okay, visual learners. And last question. Okay, the door of Taubah is still open. Next question, last question. Listening to music helps these learners to focus better when they study. Alright, my trick question is working lah. Listen to the music while studying, not listening to the lectures. So kinesthetic learners, they love to listen to music while study. That's why I put it as a 11 questions. See, only 5, okay? Got right. How about a 60? I'm not cheating. Okay, and then the Western Digital 500 gigabyte external hard disk goes to Faris. Come on. Okay, I'll bring another one to you. 32 gigabyte. Can I see your hand? Why is it shaking? Congratulations, all right? Okay, be a good learner, all right? Thank you very much. Right, go back to the slide. Okay, so this is the trend of 21st century, education 4.0. So check out the world trends from worldometers.info. Okay, see, this is a life statistic, okay? Birth this year, current world population, death this year, net population. So what I'm trying to stress right here is not car produced, computers produced this year. See, 181,000 or million, right? Society and media, cellular phones sold today, including your phones. This is life statistics. So this is what reflects the education 4.0, the 21st century's teaching and learning. Money spent on video games, including your Mobile Legends, okay? So this is the world trends. You can use the worldometers, it's reliable. and validated. So this is the students of the 21st century. Okay? Before this, we use a hierarchy way. Student use the lecturer and the sheikh to the principal and mashayikh. But now students are hierarchy. If the lecturers, they don't answer you, you wait for the answer? No. You will ask Google, Sheikh YouTube, Sheikh LinkedIn, Sheikh SlideShare, right? If it is 2 a.m. in the morning, you ask your sir, madam, or lecturers, what is the meaning of this? If they don't answer, you don't wait, right? Because we are hierarchy. This is what I call student of the day. Okay? So it is 21st century teaching and learning. Student as partners, we put student in the driver's seat because I believe when we want to teach students, okay? Let's say you want to teach your son, your cousin, your friend on how to drive a car. If you just sit in the passenger seat and you ask your cousin or your friend to drive a car, type A, method A, okay, push the clutch and then put gear 1 and then start driving. So you will see student will learn better rather than you sit in the driver's seat, okay, see me on how to drive a car. First you do this and then you put the gear 1 and then start. The student will say, oh, okay, understand, like we did in our class. But now if you put your student in the driver's seat, ask them to drive, you just give instruction, so they will follow faster, right? Could you please click on the link, YouTube link? Yes. Sorry that. Sound, please. Laptop dulu. Okey.
Sebab dia pakai HDMI kan?
Ya, betul.
Dia dah cut off.
So the big question mark, how can we make the classroom as dynamic as the world around us? You see, a lot of jobs have been created. It does not, or it didn't exist 20 years or 10 years back. Background music. Okay, so now, the big question mark is now, we don't know who is our student, who are our students, how they learn. We have PBL, we have inquiry-based learning, we have experiential-based learning. When they study, 2 a.m., 2 p.m., 5 p.m., what they study, and why they study. Sometimes they study because you want to get a degree. Some students, they study because they want to be as a lifelong learners. And where they study? McDonald's, Mahalla, Kuliah, HS Cafe, engineering, okay? It will be library, it will be masjid. We don't know. Because, so the big question mark is, how can we make the classroom now as dynamic as the world is? Okay, next. Rex Miller, in his book, Humanizing the Education Machine, one word or one phrase, which is humanize your content, or else be prepared to see students live. So the thing is how to humanize your content. Next. So where are you? Generation X, traditionalists, baby boomers, millennials. Okay? So if you know how to make your class as dynamic as you can cater all sides of segments. Okay? Even Generation X, even though in this hall actually we have all sorts of this type. Okay? If you know how to tackle them, use one method or various of methods, it can cater all sorts of segments. Okay? Next. So Education 4.0, what is Education 4.0? Next. So for me, Education 4.0 is beyond pedagogy, beyond pedagogy, it's beyond cybergogy. Okay? If you know how to combine this self-directed learning, okay? How to use the peer-to-peer learning, and then use the use of the cyber technology, I think Education 4.0 will be a marvelous, will be an amazing one. Right? Next. So this is what? Education 1.0 up to 3.0. Okay? Technology is confiscated. For those bawa handphone, confiscate. Rampas semua sekali handphone. Confiscate. But now, technology is everywhere. Internet of Things or Internet of Everything. Okay? So parents view school as daycare. Send student to school as a daycare. Tolong jaga anak saya. Please take a look after my children. But now schools are everywhere. Society, cafes, bowling alleys, bars, or masjid or workplaces. Okay? Will be your class. So we don't need to build more classes for your classroom. We just need space. Even though I think the CAC or ICC can be your classes. BIT, Bilik Tutorial 1, Tutorial 2, Tutorial 3, Tutorial 4. Okay? You can discuss with Tan Sri about this. Next. We are talking about the future of job also. I would like to ask for you, actually to get a job right now, do we need a degree? Do we need a degree? Actually, I'm fourth year. Okay, I think yes. Do we need a degree to get a job? Yes, the answer will be yes and no. But let's see. Next. Top 20 highest jobs in the world that don't require a college degree. 20. I can list it. The list goes on and on. We're talking about transportation, first-line supervisor, elevator, detective, nuclear, up to property, real estate. So the question answer itself, do we need a degree? Habis macam mana nak kena Withdraw ke? No. I'm not talking about withdraw from a taking degree. But this is world around you. This is a scenario, right? Okay, next. You see, me, myself, and my team, Prof. Rozan, we talk about virtual teacher, self-taught baker. Tak perlu ambil culinary. You have from YouTube. Bright to be fined 25K for providing unregistered dental service. 16 dental surgery, okay? Tak payah ambil pharmacy dekat Kuantan. And successful, and she's just doing night time, malam, part time. Buat braces. Berapa? 1,500. Murah tak? Murah lah. Oh, nak buat ke? Tapi kena fine, Next. We are talking about human touch. Meet the world's first human intelligent virtual assistant. This is your Jarvis. Jarvis, right? In Iron Man? Jarvis. This is your Siri, your real Siri. Siri, this is your virtual assistant. Next. See, Denise. Bukan setakat Arabic. French, Italian, German. Okay lah, you can wear tudung lah. Next time I can make it as a Muslimah. Male assistant. Okay, right. Okay, next. And the future library of 2025. We don't need Darul Hikmah. I don't say we don't need Darul Hikmah. We can have one library, virtual library, all IPTAs in the Malaysia, 20 IPTAs in one virtual library. Wiley, we're talking about ProQuest, we're talking about Scopus, ISI in one library without even you going to the rack and then picked up the book. Okay, it can be the new publisher using trust to create a new library. We co-author. So, IUM, you subscribe Wiley. USIM, you subscribe the Scopus. Okay, UKM, you subscribe. So we share the content. But now, can I use your ID? Oh, no, no. Okay, we can have a digital dinosaur when libraries are quieter than ever because people are busy finding the meanings and knowledge from your own devices. Okay, next. So, are you following me right now? You feel sleepy? Want another Western D? No? Oh yeah. So, we're talking about visualization, the 6th largest internet base in the world, including Turkey, Indonesia, China, India, Thailand, and Korea. So I think Malaysia will follow very closely. Okay, about visualization. We are talking about e-university, university in the air. Next. See, University of Saskatchewan, not Rosita Chekwan, Saskatchewan. Okay, you can find it, the whole university, the whole kuliah in your iPhone, in your Android base. So, do we need degree? Do we need university? Banyak soalan, Keynote bagi ni banyak soalan rather than answering. Next. So, we're talking about big data. See, you just imagine Uber or Grab, the world's largest taxi company, owns no vehicle. Facebook, the world's most popular media owner, creates no content. Etsy and Kiva, they are a very good bank, a very big bank. They give loans without being a bank. Tak payah jadi bank pun dia bagi loan juga. Okay, next. So these are university around the world. Okay, we have Arab Open University, EGNO, Universitas Terbuka. Okay, Anadolu Universitas in Istanbul. How many students do you think that they have? Wild guess. Ribu. 100,000. Next slide. Over 2 million. Bukan saya tipu tengok dalam website dia, Anadolu at a glance. Bukannya baru tau. 1958 kita education 4.0 bla 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 58 sebelum merdeka lagi. Zaman merdeka lagi. 2 millions. So like Richard Buckland mentioned yesterday about open learning, if you can use your MOOC effectively, IIUM can have more than 2 million students, inshallah. Because we leverage on technology wisely, pedagogically articulated, so on and so forth. Okay, next. Taxi and Uber war, next. So I wrote last year about Revolusi Industri 4.0 menghasilkan University Uber. You can check it out in BH, next. So this is what I imagine in my mind. What else? What if we can have Uber University, when you can have your lanyard as a social science student or pure science student, first semester you can choose to be in Sunway, in MSU, local or private university. Second semester, oh, I think UPM is okay lah. Okay, go to UPM to take another course. Third semester, you can choose to UNSW without having been flying to UNSW. You can stay here in KOED, put a Skype or Zoom, and then Zoom with UNSW. Richard will receive from there, and then class is on. Right? So everyone can fly Asia, everyone can learn right now. Right? Fourth semester, fifth semester, you can go to 2U2I, 2 years in industry, 2 years in university. Okay, go to Asia, work with Tony Fernandez, industry, 2 years. And 8th semester, going back to IUM for convocation. This is Uber University. We are the rider, they are the drivers. I want this course, I want this course. Plus, graduated. Next. So this is a Uber University that I have in my mind, whereas the role of teacher from the pedagogue, which we changed to facilitator, and now we choose to be the learning coach. Okay? I think previously people said about don't give student fish. Yes, tomorrow they will come to ask for another fish. Give them the fishing rod. Nah. Now, give them the fishing rod and give them the manual and the map. Sometimes when you give student fishing rod, okay, you search lah kat Google, tu fishing rod tu. But they don't know where to fish and when to fish. But now you have the manual. Okay, 7 a.m. you go to spot A. After 9 o'clock, change to spot B. And duduk sampai petang, you stay until 5. Sir, no fish lah. Sir, no fish. Because you don't give them the maps and the manuals. Right? Right, next. Hutagoji jukebox, next. But they have, of course, Uber University, it has constraints and challenges. Next. Because the big question mark, national quality assurance, reflect, do we have standard quality for refer to FlexEd? Not yet. Face-to-face and touching, how do we do alternative assessment? Malaysia doesn't have any yet. Okay, instruction strategic plan doesn't have anything except for Malaysia education blueprint. Next. Okay, external grant, fund, reward system, we don't have it in Malaysia. Okay, judge quality. Oops. Okay, input and outputs and accredited. Now, we are going to have the MOOC credit transfer. Okay, inshallah, we will start in this year for that. Okay, next. Baru datang Techno-humanistic approach. Okay, next. Okay, this one Okay guys, as a learning theory we have behaviorism, we have cognitivism, we have constructivism, we have connectivism, right? The next one, after connectivism, what will it be? Nurkhamimism. Next. The big question mark there. Next. Actually, behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, and connectivism is not rocket science. Actually, we have begun this 1,400 years back. Okay, next. Next. Go, again. Okay, stop. You see, if you go back to our seerah, okay, Jibril Muhammad, when he sent the wahyu, it's a behaviorism already, right? It's a stimulus and response. Ikra, ma ana biqari. I can read, I cannot read. Okay, keep on. Jibril keep on giving the stimulus. And then after getting Quran is complete, cognitivism. Muhammad and the Sahabah, companion. It's the connectivism already. Right? You create your own internal part. And then constructivism. Companion with the tabi'in. Okay? With the tabi'in, second layer. Okay? Okay, go to China, go to Mesir, build the constructivism. And now, after the Salafus Saleh, we are now going the connectivism, because that's why we have the ijtihad of the scholars. Right? It's a connectivism. So the thing is, for me, I think 2018 is time, it's a high time for us to go back to the Creator. Next. 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 We call it holisticism. Okay? Maybe I will publish a few papers about talking this. I don't say forget about behaviorism, forget about, no. But how about combining both, all of them? Okay? To compare. Next. Next. All right. So techno-humanistic was created by Dantes, not dentist, D-A-N-T-E-S. Next. From Indonesia. So it's talking about not just mastery of science, technology, but we also master the moral values. We know and we can feel it, and the implementation of moral values, action with wisdom, or we call it in Bahasa Jawa, hikmah. Okay? So the learning pillars are learning to know, learning to do, learning to be, learning to live together and sustainable. But I think in this module, we need to revise again. Next. So I propose, next. Okay. The leg is the relationship, hablum minallah and hablum minannas. The relationship between human and the Creator, and human and human. Okay, we can put it in our Holy Quran, Surah Al-Imran, verse 112. Okay, illa hablum minannas wa hablum minallah. Okay, if we can put this hablum minallah and hablum minannas, relationship between Creator and man, human, inshallah, we can humanize everything, not just our content, our student, our rules and regulation, and so on and whatnot. Okay? So this is Dantes, this is me, Nurkhamimi, 2018. So I'm thinking of, with my team, think of expanding this techno-humanistic, because people are talking about how to humanize. So we can challenge the Miller. Okay, Rex Miller. Next. Right. Now we're talking about MOOC, OER, okay, and online course. How about disabled person? IUCEL, we have a virtual reality, AR. How about the disabled person? Do we just serve MOOC for normal people, typical people like us? How about different mother tongue? MOOC semua English. How about Tamil? How about different mother tongue? Thailand, JMOOC, KMOOC. Rural areas, people in Ulu Tembling doesn't have any internet connection. We're talking about MOOC. Apa itu MOOC? I don't know MOOC. Internet pun tak ada. Different learning preferences. So we need to think about that. Next. Foods. Okay. This is a normal, I'm about to finish my talk. Okay. This is the last 5 slides. This is a normal scenario in hotel, right? We have 160 dishes and meals. But some people, when they go to a hotel, Zaid, what do you want to eat? I don't know lah, I don't have to eat. What? You have 160 meals, but you don't have anything to eat? Why? Why? Banyak makanan tapi tak tahu nak makan apa. Rambang mata. Okay. Illusion optics. Okay, lagi? Next. Oh. Okay lah, tak apalah, boleh. Okay. Why? Because even though they have 160 meals, the foods does not or do not fit with his requirement. Ada 160, tapi satu pun tak kena dengan selera kita. Betul tak? Tak jadi juga. Next. This is true story. This is color of the scarf of my wife. Without S. Wife. Okay? One day, we want to go to Walimatul Urus, or wedding ceremony. My wife complained to me, honey, abang, Darl, okay, I don't know what kind of scarf to wear lah. Tak tahulah nak pakai tudung apa. What? From the leaves green down to tangerine orange, you don't know what to wear? Because, abang, there's one color between yellow highlight pen and milky orange. There's another color, which is the theme of the wedding ceremony. OMG. Okay? Same goes with the buffet. Even though you have 160 meals, but it doesn't fit with your requirement, how so? Memang tak akan makan. Tudung banyak pun. Mari roboh. Warna tak ada. Because it doesn't fit. Right? Next. Oh, warna belacan pun ada. Okay. Okay, we're talking about learning preferences. Some say learning preferences, learning style are myths and methods. Okay, why don't all of you wear my batik today? Why don't all of you use white shirt? Because you have your own preferences. As simple as that. Kita kata learning preferences or just a myth. Baju pun dah lain dah. Okay, open the YouTube.
Thank you very much. You ready, Chef? I'm gonna be ready. You ready? All right, what you got?
Okay, so I don't say lecture of today you need to no. But remember, your student, they have their own preferences. And they like their preference to be entertained. Okay, next. See, in Quran, Allah mentioned about, indeed the hearing, the sight and the heart, about all those will be questioned. All of these will be questioned. Right? All the sensory, multiple sensory will be questioned. Inna sama wal basara wal fuada kullu ulaika kana anhu mas'ula. Right? Next. We have a student of visual learners, logical learners, social learners, oral learners, verbal, physical, and whatnot. Next. But some of the thesis, okay, talking about learning preferences and learning style, they just stay in the rack. Ada kat situ je, tak turun kat kelas pun, tak turun kat sekolah pun. They don't go to the school pun. Right? Okay, so you just imagine in a restaurant or hotel, when the customers, they go for the food menu. Okay, I want food A, food B, and food C. The menu will go to the chef. Okay, so the chef, how many food we have? A, B, and C only. So the chef and cook will take the customer order and preparing the ingredients. Okay, way to cook, goreng, boil. You want to boil it, you want to bake it, you want to fry it. It's up to you. And instrument. If you cook curry using a small wok, can cook ah? Boleh masak? Boleh juga, tapi lambat. 2 days, 3 days, right? Still can, right? And then you prepare the food buffet. So when the customer come, even though you don't have 160 meals and dishes, oh, food A, this is mine. Oh, food B, this is mine. Tudung, tak payah 160 lah. Maybe 3 tudung only, you can recycle every day. A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, right? So Aryani must start thinking of doing multiple tudung. Teet, black, teet, red. Okay, one Aryani only. 1,600 ringgit, Aryani, teet, black, teet, black, yellow and red. Okay? So, the food buffet will be validated by the master chef. The master chef will come, oh, this is too spicy, next time less chili. This is too salty, next time less salt. This is too much. Manis sangat, less sugar. Okay, next. How do we relate with the teaching and learning? Next. I don't say our learners is our customers, but they are. Okay, when they go to class, we have visual learners, auditory learners. So the learning designers, teachers will take out the assessment from the student, learning preferences. They start to prepare for the content, pedagogy and technology. But now teachers, especially young lecturers, they love to put technology in front. Why iPad lah? Oh, iPad. Bagus lah guna iPad. Why are you using Android? Pergi Ulu Tembeling tak ada wifi, cannot. Okay? So we say from here, even without technology, we still can teach, we still can learn. Can you agree with me? Without even a big wok, we still can cook curry, but 2 days. It will take 2 days. Okay? And we put there the tagging. Food, we took nasi goreng ayam. Masak lemak cili padi. Tagging also. In MOOCs, we have the tagging. Hashtag PBL. Hashtag Physics 101. Hashtag Arabic for non-native speakers. We have hashtag in. Tagging in. That's why Open Learning, they use the hashtag and tagging. So easy for users to find it out. And then the SME will be the master chef. Oh, next time. Oh, your MOOC is full of videos. We have here the writing and RK student. Okay, reading and kinesthetic student. Okay, video. Assessment pun video, semua video. Okay, so when the auditory learners, when the kinesthetic learner come, video, this is for visual learner, not for mine. So we would like to have the learning buffet, a good buffet for our MOOC and for our OER. Okay, next. Okay, so this is my last slide. Open the link, click the unsung heroes. Some of you might have watched this.
เขาจะได้อะไรถ้าเขาทำแบบนี้ทุกวัน เขาจะไม่ได้อะไรเลยไม่ได้รวยขึ้นไม่ได้ออกทีวีไม่มีใครรู้จักไม่ได้มีชื่อเสียงที่มากขึ้น ราะสิ่งที่เขาได้ คือได้แค่ความรู้สึกได้เห็นความสุขได้เข้าใจได้ความรักได้ในสิ่งที่เงินซื้อไม่ได้ได้โลกที่สวยงามกว่าเดิมในชีวิตคุณอะไรคือสิ่งที่คุณต้องการมากที่สุด
ไทยประกันชีวิต
Okay, subscribe
เชื่อ
to
ใน
Thai
ความ
Life
ดี
Insurance. Okay, stop. Alright, so Thailand they have very fascinating advertisement, right? So guys, all educators, my friends and colleagues, if you want to be rich, don't be a teacher. If you want to be famous, don't be an educator. If you want to be someone big, don't teach people. We are all unsung heroes. In life, what you desire the most, not ringgit, not dollars, but emotion. When you see the product of your university going up and serve the ummah. With that, I end my speech. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Nurkhamimi Zainuddin, for the compelling and valuable talk. We surely have gained a lot from this sharing session. Thank you.
I like your ending. Good ending, very good ending.
Kita nak pakai laptop sendiri. Tukar.
Now, I would like to invite Dr. Zainuddin to present Dr. Nurkhamimi with a token of appreciation. With that, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start with our second speaker in about 5 minutes. Please be seated because this is another interesting topic that we would like that the speaker would like to present for today.
Orang ICT savvy. Kan. Orang USIM kan?
I'll introduce you first. Alright. Bolehlah kot. Kot tak ada, cuma dia macam receiver mungkin jauh daripada doctor, so macam bagi queue je lah, nanti kita next time. Alright. We have 30 minutes, right? So 10 minutes before the 20 minutes. So 30 minutes lah. I will write from. Oh, okay. So that means you have like 10 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, moving on to our next speaker. Our first featured speaker for today is Associate Professor Dr. Azidah Abu Ziden from Center for Development for Academic Excellence and Student Development, CDAE, in University Science Malaysia. For your information, Dr. Azidah Abu Ziden will be presenting on a topic about becoming a blended learning designer on strategies to boost engagement. With that, I would like to welcome Dr. Azidah Abu Ziden on stage to start her talk. Welcome, Dr. Azidah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning, everybody. All right. I was once called Dr. Wahabi. Okay. My student called me a Dr. Wahabi after a reflection, a class reflection. Okay. I always do class reflection straight after a class. So I asked my student, okay, what do you think about today's class? And he told me, Doctor, you are a Dr. Wahabi. I was like, what? Next. All right. So my reaction was, what? What have I done? Okay. I don't even know what is Wahabi. I don't know what is Wahabi. Okay, because I never think of that. Okay, so when student called me Dr. Wahabi, I was like, okay. And I went back. I didn't ask him, okay? I didn't ask him, why do you call me Wahabi? Because I was quite, embarrassed. I don't know what is the meaning of Wahabi. Okay, so I said, I just smiled, thank you. Okay, then I went back and I Googled. Okay, when I Googled, I didn't, okay? I don't know why he called me. Still, I don't know why he called me Wahabi. Okay? I was like, okay, did I did something wrong? Or is Wahabi is something new or in teaching, whatever. Okay? Next. All right. So what have I done to deserve being a Dr. Wahabi? Okay, I don't think. Maybe my appearance? No, don't think so. all right? And I actually, you know, after I have been Googling, okay, and at the end, I actually like it, okay? Maybe I am different from other people, okay? I like to be different. You like to be different? Yes, sometimes no, sometimes it's a bit weird, but you know, as an educator who's being called Dr. Wahabi, I actually quite like it, all right? All right, why? Next. All right, this is the students' reflection. After the next class, I asked the students to write what is their reflection to me. All right, so this is the student's name, Aznan. All right, so his reflection on PMC 546, blended learning. Okay, so he said, well, being in Dr. Azidah's class is like being in the class of Alice Keeler. All right, then I think, okay, I have heard of Alice Keeler, but I didn't know actually what she did. Then I follow her on Twitter, okay, and okay, immediately I searched, I Googled for Alice Keeler, and then I followed her on Twitter. Oh, she is an educator, Google educator, all right, and she did a lot in her classroom, okay. Then Aznan said, I have to admit that the PMC 546 class has been a real eye-opener for me, okay. He has been working for 16 years in the international schools in Penang, all right. So I have seen many EdTech gurus, but this is the first time I see a local EdTech guru. Okay, he must not have been exposed to any EdTech guru, I think. We have a lot, we have many, okay. And then, but he said, who applies theories in teaching combined with real technology integration. Okay, we might have EdTech gurus, but they might not integrate theories in their teaching. That is very important. Okay, so and he honestly said that dia kata, you know, you have actually reminded me or my perception that there are quite quality people available locally in Malaysia. Okay, so he thought none in Malaysia kot. Okay, and then he said technology is just a tool and should be invisible, but this is the first time I'm experiencing it in classroom environment. Okay, that was his first time experiencing it, right? So he said, I have actually named her Dr. Wahabi because I am super student-centered. Okay, not actually student-centered, but super duper kot, student-centered, all right? So, because the way she conducts her class is very different than all others, very unique. Okay, so this person is doing his master's. So, throughout his study, he never had seen people or his teacher, his lecturer did what I did in classroom. Okay, always engaging and full of challenge, and he likes it very much. Okay, so that's why I was called Dr. Wahabi. And still, the class called me Dr. Wahabi, and I'm okay. All right, next. All right, so blended learning. People always say something about blended learning. You need, okay, in higher education, they always say, please do blended learning. All right, but how do we do blended learning? Okay, and I remembered one of my boss, okay, he told in our meeting, he said, okay, you nak buat blended learning, you want to do blended learning, I think you want to do blended learning because you don't want to go and teach in classroom. I was like, oh God, his mentality making me mad, all right? But no, I don't think so, okay? By making your class a blended learning class, you are actually leveraging face-to-face and online learning. And it actually helps me a lot, okay? Because I go outstation a lot. Okay, and today I'm going to have an online class because today is the first day of my class. Okay, first day of the semester of my class, actually at 11 a.m. So I extended it a little bit so that I will be able to do a class from IIUM with my students in USIM, synchronously. It is very important, and it is very important for them to be able to attend the class. Okay, the first class in the semester. So I, as educator, shouldn't miss it. Okay, so as a blended learning educators, you should be flexible. Okay, you should be active. Okay, you should be balanced. Okay, and you should reduce the dependency of students to you. Okay, to me. Okay, my students should not depend a lot on me. They should be independent. That is the most important thing. But I am always there for them. All right, next. Okay, so face-to-face is as important as online learning. All right, and online learning is as important as face-to-face. Okay, some people say, no. You cannot replace face-to-face with blended learning. Why not? Okay, why not? You can, right? You can do synchronous blended learning, which what I will do next things today, right? You can do a synchronous blended learning. Okay, when you don't have time to be synchronously with your students. Like tomorrow, I'm whole day in a meeting. So I cannot do the synchronous. Maybe I can do at 9. All right? So both are important, face-to-face and blended. All right? Next. All right? But make sure that your face-to-face should be student-centered. Your online learning should as well be student-centered. All right? Both should be student-centered. Okay? For example, if you are going to do a flipped classroom, okay? When I ask the lecturer, oh, I do a flipped classroom. Okay, next. Okay, next. Okay, so do you flip your class? Oh yes, I flip my class. But what did you do? What did you do? Oh, I post a video in my e-learn, and then I ask my student to watch the video, and then we will discuss the activity when we meet face to face. No, that shouldn't be done like that. No, okay? You just ask them to watch videos only. Okay, so it will be boring. You don't do student-centered. Okay, from the video, you should ask them to do something. Something to be presented in the face-to-face class. When you enter the classroom, ask them, okay, have you watched the video? So have you done something? Have you did something that I asked you to do after you watch the video? Now, present it to me. Okay? So, it is not like, okay, you watch the video and we'll discuss the video when you come to the class. It shouldn't be like that. Flipped classroom should be more than that. All right? So, my question is, how many times in the semester or in a year do you change your class activity? How many times in the semester? Anyone would like to answer? Dr. Hafiz? Sorry. How many times in a semester or in a semester lah, okay, do you change your class activity? Once a week? Yes. Okay, meaning that each time of the class, you need to change your class activity. Okay? So your class shouldn't be like, okay, I come to the class and do lecture or do discussion and you repeat it next week. And you repeat it next week, next and next and next. No. Okay? You should change each time you enter the class. Okay? For example, this week's class, when you go in your class, okay, I have a quiz. All right? You need to answer the quiz, and then you do some reflection on the quiz, or the students do the activity. All right? You just facilitate. Okay? So you need to change, especially the teachers. I think that the teachers, they did not change the class activities each week or for each of the class. They always do the same thing. All right? Even it is a face-to-face, you need to change it. All right? Next. All right. So this is my favorite platform. Okay? Favorite platform, which is eLearn at USM, because I'm teaching in USM. So I make use of eLearn at USM. All right? And I love it. It is only a Moodle-based platform. All right? Just a Moodle. And everybody is using Moodle. Okay? How different can you make to a Moodle? Okay? You can add plugin, you can add this, add that. But it won't make a difference if you don't change the activity that you design for your class. Okay? The platform will be there. Everything will be the same. Okay? But it will be different if you change the activity. Next. All right. So you need to put a clear instruction in your eLearn platform. All right. Very, very clear before your class. All right. So this is my class for 23rd April 2018. All right. So this is my instruction to the students in the eLearn. Okay. Today's task will be a combination of constructivist teaching strategies, which they had learned before, and PLE, personal learning environment. So I was not there. I remember that week I was in the MIPTA meeting in Unit 10. All right. So I said at 2 p.m. I said nobody should go to class today. I WhatsApp all the students. Nobody should go to class or should go to USM. You are not allowed to go to USM today, although we have class. All right? Okay, so at 5 p.m., okay, you will need to share your live location via WhatsApp. Okay, so 5 p.m., everybody was sharing their live, okay, live location to our group in WhatsApp. Okay, I need to know where you are at that time to make sure that the collaboration will be done totally online. So they need to be at their home or wherever, but not sitting together with their peers. Okay, I would like to make sure that nobody sit together during the online collaboration. Then, please watch the video. Okay, I attach a video on constructivist teaching strategies in the eLearn platform. Then read the article, okay, based on the allocated groups, okay, and then read the article assigned to you and 2 of your friends, okay. Clear instruction, okay. Use a collaborative tool to discuss and present the article by 8 p.m. today. I give example, Google Docs, Google presentation, etc. Okay, it's up to you all. Your presentation link should be submitted below. So under the e-learn, I have the submission link for their presentation. So I will give a link on Zoom Us to you all to present the article online by 8 p.m. via WhatsApp. Okay, we are going to meet via Zoom Us. All right, so any questions should be asked in WhatsApp. So this is a screenshot from my e-learn. All right, so clear instruction, then students know what to do. Okay, so at 5 p.m. they share their live location and I check. Okay, everybody is at home. Only one person in USM because he is staying in USM in a hostel. All right, and other students, they were in their homes actually. All right, so next. All right, so student reflection. Okay, the connectivism class was the best that I have experienced. So he even described, okay, this reflection was done at the end of the semester, but he could remember details of what I did during that class. And each of the class for that PMC 546, okay, everybody in that class said, okay, this week class, we did this, we did that, you know, it was effective, you know, we enjoy it, and you know, we use collaborative tool to discuss with our friends. We have struggled to, okay, which one is the best one, and so on. But the experience was really good. And one of the students actually, you know, after the exams, this course, they had exams, okay. After I invigilated the class, the exam, he went out of the exams hall and he said to me, "Doctor, you know what? I didn't study." He said, "I didn't even study for the exam. And I'm confident I'll get an A." All right. And he did got an A. And actually everybody in the class got an A. All right. So I didn't give, you know, they asked me, "Do you have any sport question?" No, I don't have. Just remember what you have learned in class and answer the question. That was my answer to my students. And everybody got A in the exam, which is what they told me. It is from the experience that they encountered in the class, each of the class. So I don't have to give spot questions because everything is in their heads and they experience it. All right. So next. Okay. Think out of the box. All right. This class teaches us to come up with disruption ideas and run away from the ordinary things we do. Okay, I forgot to mention, all the students in my class are teachers. Okay, they are all teachers doing part-times for masters, for their masters. All right, so all of them feel like, okay, when I go back to my class, I would like to do this. Okay, I would like to change my class to this class because I know my student would not be bored. All right, so this makes us unique and can compete with one side who always squeezes certain standards. I don't know what that means, maybe their bosses maybe, all right? Okay, so next. Next, okay. So how many times Okay, as you see in my presentation, all what I presented were the reflections from my students. All right, so how many times do you suppose to ask feedbacks from your students for each semester? How many times? How many times you think? 5? How many times? Do a teacher ask their students for opinion on how the teachers teach? Yes, after every classes. Okay, good answer. Yes, we should ask our students to reflect our class on each classes that we do. Don't wait until at the end of the semester to ask them to fill the surveys on our teaching and so on. That is not valid. They don't remember whatever you have taught. If your class is not effective, they won't remember anything. They just tick, 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 and then submit. All right, now in USM we do it online. So they just tick, 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 and submit. And at the end, we got that evaluation and we said, am I that good? Or am I that bad? All right, okay, next. All right, so do reflection on each class or each week. Okay, from students' reflection, we know whether they are engaged or not. Okay, if you don't ask them to do reflection, we don't know actually what they have done in class, what did they do, what do they think of us. It is very important. All right, next. All right, so engagement process include how do you do the class activity online, as well as how you do it face-to-face. So blended means that you engage your students online. They need to engage online, as well as they need to engage face-to-face. Okay? And what activities you need to explore. All right? Example like the previous slides that I showed just now. Okay? Give instruction. What do you want them to do? Okay? And then you need to facilitate. All right? And our students, even though they are doing masters or PhD, we have a Doctor of Education, which is coursework. Okay, they are adult learners. Okay, I still use the same thing, and they like it because they are adult learners. They came back from work to go to classes, and the problem is they cannot engage. Right? They cannot engage, they don't have time, they were tired. They are tired at the end of the day and class start at 5 till 10 p.m. So I do a lot of activity. Okay, so if I see they cannot engage, I say, okay, you can go home now. We can do the online activities later when you are not that tired. So be flexible. Okay, next. All right, so you need to engage your students intellectually, all right, intellectually, all right, and then you need to also engage them emotionally, very important, all right. If you cannot engage them emotionally, you are not able to engage them at all, all right. If they are tired, they cannot engage, so you need to engage them emotionally. Physical engagement. If you see the photos, that are USM lecturers. Okay? They are engaged physically, socially, intellectually, might be emotionally. All right? Because they are doing activity together, they have to solve the questions together. So it engage all. All right? Next. So how to boost engagement using blended learning? First, student-centered activity. Okay? Then make deeper connections with digital learning. Digital learning is very important. Digital tools, very important. Okay? So don't say, sorry, I don't like technology. Most of the lecturers, they say that. Sorry, I don't like technology. Please don't ask us to use technology. But our students, they like technology very much. So why we teachers don't like to use technology in our teaching? Okay, follow our students. You don't have to learn everything, but you need to know something about technology to help you in teaching. All right? And then empower students to take ownership of their own learning. So empower them. So sometimes I go to the class and I play with my handphones. Why? Because my students were busy doing activities, they were doing something, you know, and I said, okay, I go to a group. Do you have problem? We are okay, we are good. Okay, I go to other groups. We are all good, we don't have problem, we are doing this and that. So I go to my table and play with WhatsApp, check my messages, check my emails, and so on, and my students are all engaged. We are there to facilitate them. Okay, they will know when to ask questions. Okay, that is important. Next. Then, first, we go back to, okay, next. All right, so student-centered learning as soon as you enter the classroom. Next. Be a connectivist teacher. Next. And let students do the work. All right, next. Go back to student-centered learning activity again. All right, next. Again and again. All right. In class and outside class, they need to connect and collaborate. Okay, not only in classroom. Outside classroom, teach them or facilitate them to connect and collaborate. Okay, you need to encourage. They don't connect and collaborate if you don't encourage them to do it. You need to be the one who facilitate them. Okay, they won't do that unless you facilitate. All right, and then create lifelong learners. So give them experience they never forget. All right, like my student just now, he said, I don't read books, I don't read, and I got an A. And I was confident that I will get an A because I can answer everything of the question in the exams. All right, next. So engage yourself. The most important thing is you cannot engage your student if you don't engage yourself. Okay? You as teachers, as educators, need to engage yourself and then you can engage your student. If not, your student will not be engaged and your blended learning won't be effective. Okay? Blended learning will just be blended. You just blend this and that become blended, but you didn't engage your students. Next. Thank you. So that is my email if you would like to ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Azidah, for the interesting and fruitful talk. We surely have gained a lot from this sharing session. Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Nur Masale to present Dr. Azidah Abu Zidin with a token of appreciation. With that, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will proceed with our next speaker in about 5 minutes. Thank you.
Saya introduce madam. Boleh saya nak start? Okay. We will start in 2 minutes.
Weh, aku tadi tengok berita tau, cari muka. Dia masuk.
Boleh bagi. Malam ni.
Oh, nak masuk email. Okey, aku duduk belakang. Aku tak boleh tahan dah, aku memang kena pakai baju sejuk.
Ini lagi sejuk dari semalam. Hari ni lagi sejuk. Terus. Tu kan? Oh. So beli warna ni. Belum. Tak cukup air.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to announce that the session with our next speaker for today will start in about 3 minutes. Everyone is invited to fill up the seats by the stage in the main hall. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our session will start in about 1 minute. Everyone is invited to fill up the seats by the stage in the main hall. Thank you. No, 1 minute. Ladies and gentlemen, our second featured speaker for today is Dr. Rosemaliza Muhammad Kamalludeen from Kuliah of Education in International Islamic University, Malaysia. For your information, Dr. Rosemaliza will be presenting on designing impactful learning experiences. With that, I would like to welcome Dr. Rosemaliza Muhammad Kamalludeen on stage to start her talk. Welcome.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. IUCEL 2018, are you with me? Can I hear from IIUM? Where are you? USM. Oh, okay. UPM. All right, we hear from UPM. What about UKM? Tak ada UKM? Alamak. Siapa lagi? UMP? UMP, ada. Uniza, tak ada? Ada, okey, berlari dia. UMT, University Malaya. Alright, siapa lagi tertinggal? UNIMAS, UPSI, ada. UMS, tak ada. Who here? Cikgu sekolah mana cikgu? Oh, cikgu tengah sibuk membuat demo sana tu ha. Alright. Thank you very much for being here in the hall with us, IUCEL 2018, right? And I am sure you are all overloaded. Kan? Too much. Apa dia? UTHM. Oh, senyap dia tunggu panggil. Okay, UTHM. Let me hear you. Alright. So now, today, I am pleased to be here with all of you. I am sure you have heard a lot about technology, about innovation. But I am going to turn back the clock. I'm going to bring you back to us, to humans. Tech off. We're going to do it a little bit unplugged, all right? So I'm going to be talking about designing impactful learning experiences. Now you have seen all the tools, you have seen all that technology can do, but how do we use them in order for students to really learn. How do we do that? Right? We can have all the wonderful things in the world, but does that mean that your students will actually gain something from that experience? All right? Next. Next. Let's watch this video. Kuat sikit, Hang on.
Past the, anyone?
Okay, let's watch this video.
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the, anyone? The Great Depression, passed the, anyone? The tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which, anyone, raised or lowered? Raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government. Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression. Today, we have a similar debate over this. Anyone know what this is, class? Anyone? Anyone? Anyone seen this before? The Laffer curve. Anyone know what this says? It says that at this point on the revenue curve, you will get exactly the same amount of revenue as at this point. This is very controversial. Does anyone know what Vice President Bush called this in 1980? Anyone? Something DOO economics. Voodoo economics.
Okay. Have you ever been in this situation? On which side of the room? Which side? Both sides? Yes? And thank you very much for owning that up. Yeah? So I am pretty sure that everybody in this room has had similar experiences, regardless of where you are. Maybe it's in kindergarten, primary school, secondary school, university, workshops, conferences. Kan? So you get all this anyone, professor all the time. And it is still happening right now. This will never go away. The anyone professor is here to stay, right? But why do they have to stay? They don't, right? So now, ladies and gentlemen, for us to move away from the anyone professor syndrome, next, I want all of you in this room, even the ones sitting at the booths, yeah? I want all of you to think of the best class that you have ever had in your life. The best one ever. From kindergarten right up to this morning. Think of the best class that you have ever had, and I want you to turn to the person next to you, and I want you to tell them what was the one thing that you remember the most about it. Okay? Can you do that? The best class that you have ever had in your life, from way back when, I want you to point out one thing that you remember the most about that class. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do that. Talk to the first person next to you. Find someone to talk to. Okay? All right? Yeah. Just one thing that you remember. Okay, time's up. 30 seconds go by fast. Okay, now, can someone shout out, what was the one thing that you guys remembered about? Okay, Manpri, you want to share? Yeah, when I know your name, I'm going to use it. Okay, yes. One thing that you remember the most about it. What class was it? When was it? And the one thing that you remembered the most.
Okay, good morning everyone. So one class I particularly remember the most was my Form 5 mathematics class, modern mathematics. It was, I won't tell which year, but way back. What I like the most is because the teacher, Puan Wong, she used to bring a lot of realia in the classroom. So as we know, realia, globes and sometimes blocks and Legos, and you know, sometimes at being at the age of 17, we don't kind of expect to be working with Legos and stuff, but it was very interesting when she brought that, and I think it made learning more fun. Maths was not just about numbers anymore.
Thank you, Manpreet. So Manpreet remembered from way back in Form 5, right? Maybe it was like in 2016, yeah? 2017 maybe, yeah? All right, so she remembered that the teacher brought Legos, okay? Thank you. Anybody would like to share? Who wants to share? Who's dying to share? Anyone? Anyone? Yeah? Anybody, just anybody. You can shout from wherever you are. What was the one thing that you remembered the most? You know, most of you who are seated are either teachers or are going to be teachers, correct? You get this all the time. When you ask questions to a student, this is a normal response, so it's okay. Now, one more person who would like to share. Yes. Professor Buckland.
Hello. I remember a class, a maths class, where a teacher asked us a question that he didn't know the answer to, and we all sat down trying to work it out. And it was very exciting. It was the first time I'd ever done something in maths where the teacher didn't already know the answer. So it felt very good.
Thank you. When was it? Year 11. Okay. 1950? Okay, we were not independent yet. Malaysia was not independent yet, okay. So, all right, so Professor Buckland and Manpreet, they both remembered a math class, and Professor Buckland remembered the teacher asking a question that the teacher doesn't know the answer to. Whereas Manpreet said that the teacher brought Legos to class. What do the two classes have in common? The teacher. Thank you, Dr. Hafiz. So the thing is, you remembered the teacher, you remembered the tools that you worked with, you remembered the complexity of the situation, but you did not say which chapter you were talking about, you did not say which formula it was about, you did not say what was the learning outcome. Correct? Next. So ladies and gentlemen, experience versus content. You remember how the teacher made you feel. You remember perhaps the smell of the room. You remember the color. You remember the energy that was put into the room, but you don't remember what was the content. However, the education system that we are in is very much content focused. We focus on covering the syllabus so that all content are covered so that you guys can sit for the exam peacefully because all content are covered, right? So people from this side of the room, which are mostly lecturers, they worry if the content is not covered because you will suffer with bad grades. But when in fact, the missing link between the two is the meaningful experience that will make the content stick with you forever. Right? So now we are trying to bridge the two. We want to make those experiences meaningful and impactful. That makes our job complete, and that will make sure that your lives are complete. We have to move away from covering the syllabus to uncovering the syllabus. and discovery. The teachers in the room, if I say cover the syllabus, what comes to mind when you go to class? You will make sure that all the PowerPoint slides are settled. You will make sure that you have all the journal articles ready. You will make sure that all of your e-learning stuff is uploaded. That's all you worry about. But when I say uncover the syllabus, now you need to go beyond those slides. You need to go beyond those PDF documents and create those experiences for the students. All right? Next. Next. Hello, pointer. Fine. Next. Thank you. To design those experiences, it is best that we think back to way back when we were having fun and we did not know that we learned something when we had fun, which is when we were children. Now again, I want you guys to talk amongst yourselves. As children, how did you learn? As children, how did you learn? I'm sure Cikgu Nur Jahan is an expert at this. When you were 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, how did you learn? All right? Talk to each other. I'm going to give you 20 seconds for this exercise. All right? Okay? When you were kids, how did you learn? Okay, 20 seconds up. Yes. So how did you learn when you were children? Did anybody in this room not play? Did anybody in this room, when you were 5, 6, you were told to just sit down and be quiet at home and read a book? Right? So as children, what did we used to learn? When you were 5 and 6, you were playing, right? What did you use to learn? Did you only use a book to learn? No. So what did you use? All the senses. Thank you, Dr. Hafiz. When you play, you use your sight, you use your hearing, you use your hands, you use your feet, you use your heart. You used all the channels possible in your body that your body can allow in order to get all of these experiences. That's why our brain is fully developed. I mean, 90%, 95% developed when we were 6. Because of all those channels that were opened and all of those stimulus that we allow in, right? But next, what happened when we go to school? Professor Buckland, this is a typical Malaysian school. What happened when we reach 7 years old? Do's and don'ts, sila duduk dan jangan lari. Okay, it's a royal joke now. Okay, when we went to school, when we were 7, we shut down all of our senses except one. Which one did we open? Which one? Sorry? Listening. Thank you very much. You only open your hearing sense. Listen. Be quiet and listen to me. Don't talk, right? So all of our channels are shut down. When they get to the university, when these people get to us, that channel is actually overused. And when they come to the universities, guess what they have to do? They have to listen to lectures. And here we are, oh my God, the Gen Ys and the Gen Zs are so, they're so, very susah, very leceh, ni semua nak pakai gadget and all that. Yeah, because of that channel that's overloaded. Now at the university, we have to open again all of those channels that were closed in order for them to get the best learning experience, right? So lecturing, I mean, if I were the Minister of Education, well, that's not impossible because our minister is from IIUM, right? So, yeah. I would change that profession, that lecturer, pensyarah kanan, senior lecturer, I would change that name because it doesn't reflect our career at all, right? So now, what do we do in order for all of these channels that has been dormant for so long to open? Next. I asked a few university students, I think about last year, right? I sent out the survey to my students. And the survey went a little bit viral, not as viral as Insta-famous viral. I got 488 students to respond to this in about a couple of days. And they were from all over Malaysia. Next. I got, you can't really see it. There are first year until fourth year students, private, public university students. So I've got a good mix. Next. And one of the questions, open-ended questions that I asked was, any suggestions on how lecturers can make courses more interesting? Now this is a killer question for lecturers. You know, we don't like to ask this question. But I did, because I wanted to know whether, you know, all the Kahoots and all the Quizlets and all that, do they actually work? Next. These were some of the selected responses. One of them said, I wanted to be closer to the lecturers. No technology there. They want human interaction. Betul tak? Do you want to communicate with your lecturers only via WhatsApp, or do you want to talk to them face to face? Face to face, right? Because why? We are human beings. We need the love and the attention. If they don't get the love from us, their parents are far away. If they don't get the love from us, they're going to seek love elsewhere, and that's when problem begins. Next, use a variety of instructional aid. Have the soul of the youth. Haha. Okay, right? Am I youthful enough for you? Yes, okay, all right. Next, we need some breaks. This is crazy. I mean, how can you have a class 4 hours straight? That's crazy. Next, more interaction between lecturers and students. So again, interactivity, the human connection. Next, lessen the formality so the students will feel less intimidated. Are you scared of us? Sometimes you are scared of the lecturer. Sometimes you should ask my student. Mana my student? The first day, some of my students, earlier ones, when I come to class, I bring a hammer. I just put the hammer down. I said I have a handphone policy. That's all. I have a handphone policy. You can bring it in, but don't let it ring. Because it will not disturb me, it will disturb the person next to you. Right? Next. Visit to the industry, daily syllabus summary, real-life relation lecture. What do all of these formulas in calculus mean? I don't know. How do I relate the history to my life right now? I don't know. So that's what they want. Next. Okay, this person is perhaps, you know, very frustrated somehow because it was a Google form, and I bet that she or he typed it out in the handphone. So too many questions might annoy the students. She wants or he wants slides printed out and all that. So this is a whole frustration. The next one is my favorite. Next. This is my favorite, right? They feel that they are important and that they are actually part of the learning process. They are not merely consumers or receivers, but they are actually being told that, hey, I want to make you learn, so please let me know how best you learn, right? So it's a symbiosis. It's not one way. Now this is making it two-way. Now, next. How do we design these learning experiences? Now that's the big question. And be okay with no PowerPointing, all right? Is it okay for the lecturers not to use PowerPoint all the time? Is it okay with you? Or do you need the PowerPoints to suck it out of us? Okay, so how do we do this? Now I'm going to give you the tips. Number one, define the finish line. You have to define your finish line. What is the difference between running a 100-meter sprint and a 42-kilometer marathon? What's the difference? Many things in between, right? Both are running. Both, you would say, the same syllabus. It's running, it's sweating, you're going to get tired, you need some training somehow, you need to eat some sort of food. But what is in the detail of the syllabus that you need to uncover? So you have got to make sure it is a 100-meter sprint. Is it a 200-meter sprint? Is it a relay? Or is it a full marathon? Or is it an Ironman distance that you are going? For these students, the university students, they are going for Ironman. All right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google any Ironman competition out there and you will see how far they have to swim. I think about 6 kilometers or something like that, swimming, and then like 100 kilometers cycling and full marathon distance running or something like that. So you've got to complete the triathlon. So these students right here at the university, you guys are going for Ironman. All right? So now, when we know the finish line, we are clear where we are heading. Most of the time, when we get our topic, we do not know where the end is. The end was defined by the final exam, which it should not be. Okay? Number two, next. Decide how to measure that success. Decide what type of medal are you going to give to the students. Is it a medal? Is it going to be a trophy? Is it going to be asking them to enter more races? Which one? How do we assess learning? Right? How do we assess whether those outcomes have been achieved? And yes, that's me. That's my shoe and that's my medal. All right? Finally, number three. Once you know the distance and once you know how to measure that distance, now you develop your winning strategies. How do we get the student from point A to that 100-meter mark or that 42-kilometer finish line? We've got to strategize. 100-meter sprint, Usain Bolt. How does he look like? What is his physique like? How? He's tall. What else? He's muscular, right? Now, imagine that with the 42-kilometer marathoner. What is that person's physique like? Skinny, right? Very thin, very lean. Now, imagine Usain Bolt running a 42-kilometer marathon. Will he last the distance? He will not if he does the strategy of a 100-meter sprint, right? He's too heavy. He has too much muscles. What does Usain Bolt eat? What kind of diet is he in? Sorry? Protein diet, right? Lots of proteins, because in order to go fast, you need a big engine, right? Ferraris and all of your fast cars, their engines are huge, right? Half of the car is the engine. Now, in order to build that engine, you need a lot of protein. What about the marathoner, the long distance runners? What do they eat? Carb. You have heard of carbo loading, right? So they eat carb. Now, even the food is different. So how can we teach a student who is predominantly visual or predominantly kinesthetic through lectures? It's different strategies altogether, right? So once you know all these three, you need to align them. Next, this is called the constructive alignment. This is the very core of education, very core of teaching and learning. If you don't align these three, then your learning experiences will be all over the place, right? You want the students to be able to be good at public speaking, but you are lecturing about public speaking, and you give an exam about public speaking. Now, are the students going to be as good as Syed Sadiq? No, right? So you've got to align all these three, then you will be able to create meaningful learning experiences. Next. What I have developed was, you can see my poster, the learning design matrix, where I combine all of those three on one snapshot. I align the learning outcome with the learning assessment and all of your strategies, where you can see it on all on one page. Now, usually when teachers do lesson planning, it's going to be very, very wordy again, one after the other, paragraph after paragraph. Now, if you have this matrix, you can see on one shot what is it that you're trying to achieve and what are your strategies and whether you have incorporated all of the senses or not. All right? So for more information, please visit my booth number 15. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope that with my short presentation, I know I have gone overrun some time, but I hope that with this, you are all now aware of what is it that makes students excited to learn. We are not here to force them to accept anything, but we can create the environment for them so that they will be engaged and they want to learn. Okay? All right? So thank you very much for your attention, and I hope that you have a fruitful event and that you learn something and you take something back from today and also yesterday. All right? Thank you very much, and I'll see all of you around. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rosemaliza, for the captivating and impactful talk. We surely have gained a lot from this sharing session. Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Faiza Idris to present Dr. Rosemaliza Muhammad Kamalludeen with a token of appreciation. With that, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed with our next speaker, let us all watch a video from UMT.
For your information, these are some of the interesting things that you can find at the UMT booth that's located outside this hall. Please don't forget to give them a visit to find out more interesting exhibition there. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will proceed with our next speaker in about 10 minutes.
Betul. Kenapa pula? Saya nak kejap kita nak test saya punya komputer. Sama semua okey kan? Tahu saya okey. 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 Saya petang ah. Oh, petang ah. Saya last speaker. Kita nak test dia Test. Boleh. Test suara.
Boleh saja.
Test suara.
Test suara boleh?
Test komputer.
Test komputer. Oh, sound komputer. Okey. Ladies and gentlemen, our next session will start in about 3 minutes. Everyone is invited to fill up the seats by the stage in the main hall. Thank you.
Kan? Dia jadi MC juga. MC juga. Ada orang lain.
Oh, aduh.
Tahu tak dengar suara. Okey, saya datang. teaser sikit. Gambar acah. Teaser. Teaser sikit daripada komputer yang kita punya mana? Yang USIM yang? Jadi ada kontrol di situ?
Aku tak tahu, mungkin sebab ada problem.
Siapa kontrol ini? On the own?
Here, no.
You control? You control? Itulah highlight lah tu.
Saja nak announce 2 minutes tak? Nak announce 2 minutes tak? Jangan. Kenapa? Sebab dia still alah. No, that's located in the ICC. Salah, I know bahasa. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget to visit. Ni buka dulu, jangan tutup. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget to visit. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget to visit exhibition booth, which are the of Learning Malaysia, which is Science IIUM, e-learning minds, USM, UMT, UNISA, and USIM that is located in ICC.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to visit our exhibition booth that are Open Learning Malaysia, PetroScience IIUM, E-Learning Minds, USM, UMT, UNISA, and USIM at the banquet hall. Thank you.
My God.
No pressure.
Tak.
Kita pakai Keynote sekarang. Dia
banyak video tu. Dia lama sekali.
When's your session? Okay, how many students?
Sebab I dah ada kerja lain. Kenapa ni? Kamera ni. Dek, yang tu siapa kontrol? Mana? Kat mana? Belakang mana?
Belakang.
Apa tak masuk lagi? Kita nak cuba tu lah. Momok lah. Saya kan lah suka.
Patut
masuk kat sana naik feature speaker tu, situ. Tu yang hang buat yang poster-poster tu, tunjuklah kat situ. Prezi kena pakai internet. Oh ya kan. Prezi ni selalu kalau tak ada internet tak jalan. Asal dia tak dapat letak tangan ni internet. Ini telah berkongsi password ni. Ada hubungan keraguan yang munasabah. Kat sini boleh buka. Jangan, pasal kadang-kadang dia tak compatible kalau kita tukar pakai ni. Kalau ada attach file lagi tak jalan kat situ.
Rumah dia mana? Lagi tak tahu. Yang saya buat. Okey.
Jadi petang ni kena keluarkan batu dulu. Pasal dia tak tahu apa nak jadi. Tak announce tak ada semua dengar. Tapi kalau gambar apa nampak. Dengar ni memang tak dengar.
Semalam recording. Malam pukul 10. Sebelum pukul 10 ke apa tu. Macam recording tu.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next session will start in about 1 minute.
Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Beg tu buka, beg tu simpan, beg. Beg simpan. Sekejap lagi saya tanya satu soalan. Jangan tanya. Go away please.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next session will start in about 1 minute. Everyone is invited to fill up the seats by the stage in the main hall. Thank you.
Lagi dia nak beri tandas lah macam mana. Dia ada beli.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start our session. Our third featured speaker for today is Associate Professor Dr. Shahrul Mizan Ismail from Faculty of Law at University Kebangsaan Malaysia. For your information, Dr. Shahrul Mizan Ismail will be presenting on an interesting topic about putting the teacher back into the picture on instructors' immediacy behaviors as means to humanize digital learning. With that, I would like to welcome Dr. Shahrul Mizan Ismail on stage to start his talk. Welcome, Dr. Shahrul Mizan.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and salam sejahtera. Okay, the technical assistant at the back just basically told me that, what, you're from Faculty of Law and you're talking about this? I said, exactly, that's why I'm really scared now actually. I'm not actually from the Faculty of Education, okay? I'm from the Faculty of Law, so what I'll be presenting here is not my research, it's not something that I teach, it is just something that I read on because I need to know this to encourage UKM lecturers to actually do this. Right? I'm also the Deputy Director for Learning Technologies for UKM. So one of my KPIs is basically to encourage UKM lecturers as much as possible to go into learning technologies, to try Education 4.0. I go around PTJs, centers, institutes, and faculties in the university to make as many lecturers as possible to be aware of this thing. All right? So what I'm going to do today is, I'm not going to teach anything. I don't think I am capable of doing that. Dr. Helmi is from Faculty of Education. All right, so what I'm going to do today is just going to share stories with you if you don't mind. I hope that's okay. Okay, I will share with you stories of what I do in my class and also what I usually encounter when I go around talking to other lecturers about Education 4.0's, learning technologies and whatnot. So when I go around talking to other lecturers in UKM about Education 4.0, in fact, in my own faculty, I come from a very conventional, traditional and formal faculty. So when I say Education 4.0, when I say MOOC, when I say learning technologies, the response is usually, no, please. That's not our cup of tea, you know. They will say that it's not for law, it's not suitable for law, don't talk to us about that. So that is what they would usually say. I'm also involved with the Ministry of Higher Education, the previous ministry, on Program Education 4.0, where I go around polytechnics and universities, training lecturers to try Education 4.0. So again, when I go and give these workshops, among the things that lecturers would ask me, their concern is usually about, I'm not sure, the normal questions would be, I'm not really sure how I could be present by using Education 4.0. What worries me is if I were to have digital classroom, if I were to use online learning, my students won't feel me to be there for them. At first, when I talk to some other friends who are using Education 4.0, they would tell me that, oh, these lecturers are resistant lecturers. They do not want to change. They are lecturers who will be later on be replaced because they simply do not want to change. At first, I agree. In fact, there are certain lecturers who are like that. But as I went on giving more and more workshops, talked to more lecturers from more PTJs, institutions and centers in UKM, I discovered that these lecturers are actually very caring lecturers. It's not that they do not want to use it, but they are just very worried about it. They just feel that if they were to try, they will lose presence in their class, their students will not feel that they are there, and as a result, they are worried that the students will suffer because of this. So that's the reason. So I understand that feeling, I understand that sentiment, so I read and read and read, and I try, because I am actually from the Faculty of Law, and once upon a time, I was one of them. I don't believe in these things as well. But when I try and try, I found that we can actually be there for the students in the digital world. And this is what I'm going to do with everyone today. I'm just going to share some stories on what I have done with my students in class. Give you some input in terms of what this thing is, instructors' immediacy behaviors. Okay, so Fai, can we go to the next one? All right. So what is instructors' immediacy behaviors actually? All right. Okay, there are a lot of words there, so I can just explain. All right. When you talk about instructors' immediacy behaviors, it is not necessarily for digital classrooms. When you go into class, your facial expression, all these things are instructors' immediacy behavior. It can be divided into two actually. One is verbal, one is non-verbal instructors' immediacy behaviors. When you stand in front, the kind of language that you use, the tone, right, your presence in the class, the way how you call your students when you want them to answer questions, the type of noun or verb that you use, okay? So these things are actually among the examples of instructors' immediacy behaviors. So there are two types, verbal and non-verbal. When we're talking about physical classrooms, when we're talking about the conventional type of class, you usually have your students in front of you. So your students can actually see you. The physical distance is very small. They are physically close to you. But instructors' immediacy behavior, if I could just translate this in a very simple way, it is actually a series of communicative actions that sends positive messages to the student about liking and positive feeling towards the instructor. This is instructors' immediacy behavior. So what I would like to share with everyone today is that instructors' immediacy behavior can also happen in digital classroom, and that's ways how you can actually do this. And if you can do this, students will feel your presence despite the lack of physical element in the class. So it is something that is doable. Right, can we go to the next slide, fine? Okay, so basically when we engage student, okay, once again, banyak perkataan tak payah tengok. Right, so when we engage student, there's a research which says that when we engage students in class, we engage them in 4 aspects. We engage them in terms of their skill, we engage them to participate, we call that participation engagement, we engage their emotions, that's emotional engagement, and we engage them to perform, so it's performance engagement. So can this be done in digital classroom? Yes, it can. All right, so how do we make our students see us in digital classrooms? So I will share something. Fine. Prof, jangan kacau dia. Okay, alright. So, first, how do you establish your tones, yeah? So just like how you establish your tone in physical classroom, you can also establish your tone in digital classroom. The thing is, how do I say this? It's not I don't want to say the problem is, but the reality is most of us, when we talk in class, we are very free, like this kan. Okay, Assalamualaikum student, good morning. Okay, how are you today? We are very free. Because I also conduct MOOC training. I teach lecturers to build MOOC. When they build their MOOCs, they would have to say things in the text. And when they say things in the text, it's not the same as when they say in class. In class, it will be very lively, but when they say that, I tell them, okay, start lah, this is your virtual class, start saying something. Class, this is the teaching video, please watch. That's not a very positive instructor's immediacy behavior, all right, because it's quite neutral. So I'm going to show you some examples after this, yeah? So the tone can be divided into 2, cold media tone or warm media tone, yeah? So let's move to the next part, fine? Okay, this is an example of cold media tone that I use with my students in my class. Cold media means you say something and you use emoticons. Do you use that with your students? You say something, have you finished your assignment, then emoticon. Today's tutorial, emoticon. This is cold media, all right? So, or sometimes you use figurative language. You ask questions to them, for example, in your WhatsApp class, they answer, good idea, all capital letters. Good idea, tanda seru, all right? These are all figurative language. So when you use figurative language, when you use emoticons, these are all cold media. Can we move to the next one? This is an example of my tutorials online with my student. It's quite small, but what's important is the emoticon. I give them an activity. I'm sorry, it's in Malay because in UKM we use the national language. So it's activity ulang kaji. So I change the figurative, I use the figurative language that would appeal to them. Instead of saying, oh, this is an assignment, please answer the following tutorial questions, I say, this is activity kumpulan yang cepat, kumpulan yang cepat, dia dapat, kumpulan yang lambat, dia akan mendapat. So, they will, apa tu sir, mendapat. So I put some emoticons there, yang nangis keluar air mata tu semua kan, so make it fun a bit. Alright, next one. Okay, this is another example. You know, when you talk to students, you want to make yourself present. So presence are divided into three. You have cognitive presence, you have social presence, and you have your instructional presence. Yeah. So social presence can be established like this. For example, this student, his name was, I cannot say his name. So he was a very smart student, very active student, and we were talking about tutorials actually. But the conversation dragged into, he was thinking that he is like Hermione Granger in Harry Potter. So I say, oh, if you're Hermione Granger, then I'm Professor Snape. Then we laugh and laugh using the emoticon. So actually it's like in the real class. You ask questions, they answer, you joke around with the students, you laugh, but you don't use your voice, you laugh using emoticons. So that's how you actually use this. Next one. This is my MOOC, all right? So I construct my sentence when I welcome my students into the MOOC as how I would welcome them in class. For example, salam sejahtera pada semua, apa khabar, selamat datang ke modul yang pertama. I explain to them in a language that I would use in class. Next. Okay. So this is another example. So once a module is finished, I move to another module in my virtual class. So I would say, selamat datang ke modul baru. Di dalam modul lepas, kita telah mempelajari whatever. Okay. So this is the kind of language that I feel usually would make students feel as though I'm there, although I'm not physically there, rather than just say, the next module is, all right. So next one. These are, okay, the cool tones are the ones that I've shown you. Another tone is warm tone. Warm tone is when you use videos or audios. Kan WhatsApp, you can actually record your voice. Or sometimes if you have your smartphones, you can just record yourself using your smartphones. So if you give instructions for your tutorials or for your assignment, using not words, not text, but using videos or you record your voice, that's a warm tone media. So I'm going to show you some examples. Okay, can we move to the next one, Fai? Next one. I made this using Bytable. So, okay. Sound tak ada. So if you can see the kind of language that I use, okay, actually there's supposed to be sound, Dekat bawah komputer punya sound ada tak? Okay, tak apa, sementara Fai tengah tolong carikan sound tu, we'll discuss this one first. So, if you see, the kind of language that I use to are interactive language. Maksudnya, I cakap dengan diorang, I go into their context. Oh, korang tengah buat apa tu? Oh, tengah exam ke? Tengah stress ke? Okay, kita belajar secara santai hari ni. Macam tu. Okay? I campur-campurkan sikit BM dengan BI sebab that's how we talk usually when we talk to each other face to face. Sekejap siap ada masuk lagi slang tu saya masuk lagi slang tu just to make them feel that we are close to them. Because instructors immediacy behavior is about psychological closeness. So you are not necessarily close physically, but psychologically you are close. So to be close with someone ni, kalau macam you meet someone, you want to be close. Kalau macam, I think it's a fact that is well known that kalau you from Kelantan, you meet another Kelantanis, you speak in Kelantan language, terus ada bond kan. So sama lah macam ni. So I try to bond with them like that, Kalau I cakap macam pensyarah, then they wouldn't actually feel close to me. Dah lah ada physical gap tu because it's an online class. So that's why I try to get close to them like that using figurative language. Sekejap tengah technical problem sikit. So I was talking about social presence just now. So presence does not necessarily mean that you can only be present in one way. When okay, next one, next. Next one. Fine. Next video. Yes. Okay, this is an example of my teaching video using PowerPoint. So I use a setting that is much more closer to them, no cartoons and whatnot. Okay. It's a law class actually, but I try to make it as unlaw as possible. Alright? Alright, next video. This is
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera semua.
Okay, this is actually my teaching video with my students. Because in law we have to learn cases. The conventional method is where you give the students a list of cases, lots of cases on a piece of paper, and they would have to go to the library, get the law report and read cases. But I changed that method a bit. I use screencasting, and I made this is an example of a warm tone media. Alright, so yes, can you play the video?
Apa khabar? Sekarang ni saya kat rumah pukul 2 pagi dan saya tengah membuat persiapan terakhir untuk kelas kita esok lah. Kalau para pelajar semua sedang menonton, bermakna inilah video yang saya buat pukul 2 pagi tadi. Nampak tak saya pakai baju kot kat rumah? Saya ni kat rumah pun pakai baju kot, tidur pun pakai baju kot. Percaya tak? Okey, video ni saya buat untuk menceritakan tentang satu kes yang ada berkaitan dengan topik kita pada hari ini, iaitu topik discovery by interrogator pada skrin. Dan di samping itu ada satu filem tahun 70-an, iaitu filem Abang.
Bukan Abang 90 yang Abang sedang berlakon tu tau. So to make them be engaged, so I put in some videos from YouTube.
Okay,
from a 70s movie.
Tonton video ni dan awak ignore pun, at least it can give you a feeling lah. Sebab you nampak kan bangunan-bangunan syarikat, ni pengarah
filem
syarikat
abang,
sebab kes
sebenarnya.
ni berkaitan dengan pengarah syarikat dan seorang shareholder. Dia juga lah seorang shareholder dan dia telah ditipu lah. Okay, so at least you tengok macam mana pekerja-pekerja pengarah syarikat, pemegang share zaman 70-an, you tengok dia punya baju, dressing dia, you tengok fashion rambut dia, you tengok orang-orang dia, so you boleh dapat gambarkan lah. Ini nama syarikat ni, nama
Okay,
dalam
next
filem
video.
ni ignore lah. Ini nama dalam cerita tu.
Okay, this is another example. I put myself in there in the form of an avatar so that the students can see, oh, doctor is here, sir is here actually, but in that form lah. Okay, I introduce myself. Okay, next one, fine. Tak payahlah tengok sampai habis kan, kita kan nak belajar undang-undang. Tapi you can just see how it's actually done. No. Can you go back? There was the other videos kan? Ke dah tak ada tadi? Okay. Next. Sorry. Okay, so another, the first is tone. Second is what we call chronemics. Yeah? Chronemics means that student will look at the response that you give. What time did you respond to the student? How long did you spend to craft your message? Kan in WhatsApp, when you type, the student can see that you are typing, right? So they can actually see how long does it take for sir to actually come up with the answer, to reply. What time does sir reply? With me, in my case, for example, I am a very light sleeper, so I usually reply whenever I wake up in the middle of the night. I wake up, I check my WhatsApp. And these people, these students, diorang ni memang buruh hantu. Diorang tak tidur. So their questions, their discussions, their mind becomes active at night. So they will ask questions then. So usually I would answer. And they would feel as though I'm like one of them. Because I answer the time, I discuss with them at the time when they are actually also having a very active mind. So next. Okay, see, this is the time. This is actually discussion on law actually. Alright, tapi we do it at 3 o'clock in the morning. There were 12 students online and they were all actively discussing. So this is what we call chronemics, the timely response that you give. All right, next one. Okay, next one. Okay, this is the email. They send me their work through email and I respond to them at that time. Some of my students who have graduated actually say to me that when we were studying under you, we were very surprised. We do not want to ask you questions in the during the office time because we are afraid you're going to answer then and then. So we said late at night, sir answer? Yes, I answer. So lama-lama dia rasa macam kita dekat lah dengan dia kan. Okay, next one. Okay, so the third one is, first is tone, second is chronemics, third is feedback. Do you give feedback to your students? Sometimes what makes students feel as though there is no lecturer in the digital classroom, they can feel your absence because you don't give feedbacks. So you give feedback is one thing. You give feedbacks timely is another thing. So when you frequently give feedback, they will feel that you are there. All right, so can we go to that please? Okay. Next, this is an example. This is from my MOOC, from my online class. After they have watched the teaching video, at the bottom they can ask questions. So they will ask questions and I will answer. They ask, I answer, they ask, I answer. So I make sure that I respond as frequent as possible. I think sometimes, based on my experience, this is a personal opinion, sometimes I feel that when we do this digitally or we do this online, we are actually closer to them. Because when we do it physically, we are there just in class. But when we are like this with them, we are actually closer in a sense that they can always have access to us. They can ask anything. We can always answer their questions. Sometimes, right, you think that physical closeness is also equivalent to psychological closeness, but that's not possibly true. That's not necessarily true, sorry. Imagine a lecturer standing in front of a lecture hall giving lectures, but he only or she only stays at the podium and read the PowerPoint slide. Physically, you are close, but psychologically, are you close? That's the issue. All right? I still remember my criminal procedure lecturer in the 90s, okay? It's a criminal procedure course. He would be standing in front, no slides. Okay, in the 90s, there was not many slides. So he will just open this very thick book, Ratan Lal. I think Dr. Majda knows that. So open Ratan Lal and just read. So we will just sit there and listen, like the video that Dr. Rose showed just now. All right? So this is an example of how we can give feedbacks to students. Next slide. Okay, next one. Yes. These are all examples of actually how I respond to students and give them feedbacks online. I have Telegram classes. I conduct my tutorials in Telegram, no longer in face-to-face. It makes my job easier too as a lecturer. I don't have to replace classes. No matter where I am, I will just make sure that they will be there online and I will be there with them online, and I will just entertain any questions and discuss things with them. Yes, next one, fine. Belakang balik, fine, please. Dekat slide yang tu. Belakang lagi. Belakang lagi. Lagi. Okay.
Macam mana? Takut tak tengok video
instructions
tadi?
Using
saya bergurau
video.
aja. Okay,
another one, fine. Another one. Before
jawapan
that.
tu.
Okay, this one.
Hello, apa khabar semua? Tengah buat apa kat rumah tu? Saya ni dekat office. Mari saya tunjuk awak office saya. Okay. Bayangkan saya sekarang ni pukul 10 lebih ni, tapi masih kat office lagi, tengah habiskan kerja. Tiba-tiba saya rasa rindu pada semua. Mesti duduk rumah lama-lama tak ada buat apa-apa tu sebenarnya akan berkarat otak tu kan? Jadi kita buat aktiviti sikit melalui mobile apps. Soalan-soalan yang telah saya senaraikan tadi, setiap kumpulan ada 5 atau 6 orang, dan 2 kumpulan yang tercepat menjawab semua soalan-soalan yang telah saya senaraikan tadi dengan cara merekod video setiap seorang di rumah masing-masing. Setiap ahli kumpulan pilih satu soalan dan jawab, dan mesti soalan yang berbeza-beza. Katakanlah dalam satu kumpulan
kedepankan sikit file video, kedepankan sikit.
Ahli yang pertama dah jawab soalan pertama, ahli yang kedua tak boleh jawab soalan pertama. Tapi kumpulan yang lambat tu akan menerima hukuman misteri.
Just to make them feel that, you know, macam saya cakap tadi lah, when you use video to give instruction, is a warm tone media. So warm tone media ni maknanya they can see your face, they can feel what you're trying to say. You are actually expressing your emotion in the instruction. So even though it's digital, although it's online, they can still feel you are there. So you don't really have to worry about this, you know. Okay, another one, next video. This is after.
Macam mana? Takut tak tengok video tadi? Saya bergurau aja. Okey, satu lagi saya nak pesan, jawapan tu jangan panjang-panjang. Setiap orang yang menjawab soalan tu untuk kumpulan masing-masing mestilah dalam video yang tidak melebihi daripada 1 minit ya. Sebab kita nak buat ulang kaji sebenarnya sebelum saya teruskan dengan tajuk yang selepas cuti nanti. Jadi saya nak semua orang faham. Jadi jangan panjang-panjang supaya kawan-kawan awak senang nak baca. Senang nak baca.
Tapi yang
senang
belakang.
nak tonton. Kalau awak panjang-panjang nanti.
Belakang. And yes, that one. Yes. Lagi satu. Okay, ke depan balik. Alright, kalau you tak nak guna screen casting macam I tadi, because you boleh guna juga macam ni. This is biteable. Okay, so if you are uncomfortable recording yourself, you can also use this type of video. It is still considered a warm tone media, okay, because it's very interactive and it moves and everything. So, but your language, you must use a figurative language, yeah? Because I do have friends in my team, 3 lecturers teaching the course, I do have the other 2 lecturers say that, tak nak tunjuk muka, malu cakap, tunjuk muka. You can actually use something like this. Or, another option, next one, you can use video. Oh, no. Okay, this is, no, next one. Next video. Okay, all right. Or you can actually use avatar. Okay, I choose this guy because physically he's like me lah. Kan macam bulat-bulat, macam montel-montel sikit. So I choose him. So this is another method. You can actually use avatar. Okay, fine. Stop. Thank you. Okay, so you can actually record yourself. You can actually use figurative language in rapid animation. This type of video, we call it rapid animation videos. Yeah, so you can use figurative language in rapid animation videos, or you can also use avatar. Put in avatar. So that avatar tu you guna from the beginning until the end. That represents you. All right. So I think that's all that I wish to share with you today. All right, just to recap, we can actually be close to our students online. There are ways to do it. Just make sure that we establish tone, we take care of the chronemic factors, and also the feedbacks. All right, there are many other factors, but for today's purpose, I just narrow it down to just those 3 factors. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Shahrul Mizan, for the constructive, informative, and entertaining talk. We surely have gained a lot from this session. Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Madam Wan Narmi Aziana to present Dr. Shahrul Mizan Ismail with a token of appreciation. With that, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, our next session will start in about 10 minutes.
I hope I'm pronouncing your name right.
Yeah, yes.
If you're ready to start, you can just...
Budget? Yeah, you can start.
Innovasi
is the next
year,
okay?
Tapi good talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next featured speaker for today is Mr. Chuah from Center of Applied Learning and Multimedia in University Malaysia Sarawak. Mr. Chuah will be presenting on the feel-good factor, emotional design of virtual learning environments. With that, I would like to invite Mr. Chuah to start his talk. Welcome, Mr. Chuah.
Hello, everyone. Good to be here to wrap up the session because what I'm going to share with you have been shared by all the speakers before me. I macam nak buat conclusion untuk semua lah. But one thing good about the theme for this year is humanizing technologies, which we are talking about how we can more or less turn computers, gadgets and all that to be more humanistic, which is quite interesting because we invented technology to replace us, then we want the technology to be more like us, which is a bit ironic to me, right? Macam Dr. Rose katalah, kita dah ada teknologi, tiba-tiba kita nak revert, we want to make it even more humanistic. But I will be sharing a topic, what I call as the feel-good factor, a little bit into emotional design of virtual learning environments. Parts of the content or parts of the sharing has been done by the previous speakers about other element of different component that I will be sharing. But my focus will be on the research elements of the components that actually creates better emotion ataupun better feelings. All right? Next.
Take it up, Key.
Wow.
I feel good.
Okay. Music lambat. Okay. Now, a year ago, just so happened, I was blessed to be given an opportunity to teach 2 blind students. They were enrolled in my linguistic program. It was kind of, eye-opener for me because I have never taught a blind student before. And when they were in my class, I was like clueless. How are they going to learn all this linguistic punya element, especially phonetic symbols and all this, without having the ability to see? Then, to my surprise, they were so into gadgets that they can actually use WhatsApp, they can actually use Facebook, they can actually use a lot of tools which some of us do not even know. From Google Talkback to all the accessibility tools that they have on the gadgets. So they are able to do this very, very well. Then there was one point when I asked them, how are you going to see my slides? We are so used to say this in class. As you can see, as you can see, as you can see. But I have 2 blind students in front of me who are not able to see. So I was like, I need to change that. Maybe we don't have to use slides anymore. Maybe we can just move away from depending so much on visuals and let's turn into a slightly more humanistic approach of listening with sight. Your vision is your ear and your ear is your vision, things like that. We try to change the concept. So I asked this, one of the blind students, her name was Aisha. So one day, Aisha told me, sir, I couldn't access your LMS. I mean, we have ELIP system called LMS, Learning Management System. So, okay, fine, you can't access the LMS, so what are you going to do about it? I asked. And then he said, well, I tried to navigate and log in, but it says my account is invalid. Okay, you found out that your accounts are invalid. Now that I'm going to help you log in, where are you going to find my notes? And then she said, I will find it in this particular page. With a very detailed explanation on how to navigate to that page with every single click that she made to retrieve the file. I was kind of stunned because I was just testing whether he was able to do that. And to my surprise, she was able to download all the notes without my assistance. using solely her mobile phone. I mean, by accessing the page. Then she told me this: "Sir, your ELIP page, why so serious?" I said, "You can't see. How do you know that my page is serious?" "Because I can feel your page." What do you mean by feeling the page? Somehow a lot of the speakers today have shared this. The way I put things, the way I wrote my instruction, the way I, reply in the forum and all that somehow gave that feeling of seriousness. And I'm kind of like blessed to have her to give more responses, because all this while, when we were designing LMS and all that, we were so focused on visuals. Kena graphic cantik, we need beautiful photos, but to them, it doesn't really matter. And if you look at UNIMAS punya ELIP now, it's so clean, white, like a canvas. Because to them, what matters most is how you deliver the whole process of learning, like what Dr. Rose mentioned, the experience matters more. Next. So from there, I would like to share, in order to get a good learning experience, we always talk about these 3 E's. And all the speakers today, and even yesterday, have mentioned this many, many times, over and over again. These 3 E's are completely, mutually helping each other. They are not exclusive, right? So the first one, effectiveness. All this while, you have seen the research done on how do you measure the effectiveness of LMS, how do you measure the effectiveness of your forum, how do you measure this, measure that. All is about effectiveness, because we need the return of investment. You invested millions of ringgit, for example, for the platform. I need to see the effectiveness, right? But somehow, in order to get the learning experience, effectiveness may not be effective in measuring the experience. Then came out a different school of thought, or a different school of people focusing on the other E, which is engagement. Like what Dr. Rose elaborated, and even Dr. Mizan just now. You have social engagement, you have emotional engagement and all that. So engagement is the in thing, where we don't measure how they get from 0 to 100, we measure how they respond to our activities. We measure how they engage with the activities, how they deal with the question we raise and all that. So engagement is there. But what is lacking all this while is the other E, which is already there for many, many years, which is emotion. Now you will be wondering, why is emotion even in the picture when engagement is covering emotion? And engagement also covers emotional behavior. Now, when we talk about emotion here, we are not talking about the interrelatedness with engagement. We are talking about the real emotion as it is. Let's say if I ask you one question now, when you are entering the LMS or your e-learning platform, if I ask you this question, how do you feel? You'll be wondering, why do you ask me this question? How do I feel has nothing to do with the e-learning platform, right? But Aisha, who was my blind student, actually said, no, every single page has a soul. Every single web page can tell you whether the writer is emotionally sound or not. And it creates that kind of vibes into them. We were measuring different things using emotional approach or using emotional design. Next. Today I will share a little bit only, not all. Yeah, these are some of the things that we have done. We measure multimedia videos, we measure instructional practices, we measure how the teacher talked, we measure how the MOOC video recently, and all these things that we use in teaching and learning, how does it trigger certain type of emotion or certain group of emotion, or even each single emotion that you want, if you want to look at a minute or very particular emotion, all right? So if I ask you, how do you feel when you enter certain class, you will say happy. But when I ask you, why are you happy? I don't know, I just feel happy when I'm in Dr. Rose's class, for example. I don't know, I just feel happy when I enter Tuan Haji Shahrul's class. I just can't tell you, but I'm feeling happy, right? But our job during these past 10 years was to be more specific. If you say you're happy when you enter this class, probably you need to tell me more. what makes you happy first? Maybe when you look at the face or the way they dress or all these elements, and then we try to see. Okay, next. I'm going to share with you what we found out based on these 10 years of data, right? Through different types of pedagogical approaches that has been used by lecturers, teachers, and also all the materials and tools that they have done and used. So what do you think matters more when it comes to virtual learning environment? Is it the presence of the lecturer or the presence of the teacher? What would be number one, let's say? You'll be surprised with what we found out. The first one, next, is this one. We were equally surprised at first. The need for speed. If you don't have the speed, whatever you created will create negative emotion almost instantly. A case in point would be your phone. If you launch an app, if it takes more than 5 seconds, you will quit and you feel very frustrated and you will not be using that app anymore. Am I right? Or if you go to a page or your e-learning page takes you like 10 minutes to even go in, that will create a bad impression and you don't feel good. You don't feel you really want to go into that page anymore. I put that loading time to learning time. The learning time here is not about learning the content. The learning time here is referring to learning to get used to the things that you are using. For example, the e-learning page that you are using, if it takes you ages to even learn how to log in, it's not a good one, right? And you don't feel that you want to go in anymore. You'll feel very frustrated. You feel very angry sometimes. Some student will be calling the lecturers, I cannot go in, I cannot go in. You'll feel very angry. All right? Those are emotions that we're talking about. Also, in relation to what we talked about just now, the feedback, right? This is a bit related. The feedback has to be quite instant, but not always good, right? What we found out when it comes to feedback, later on I will share in the next one, is that we always think that, okay, students want us to respond almost immediately. Actually, you have to be careful because they will start to pick on your feedback. Like I was sharing with Dr. Hafiz just now. They start to detect you are copy-pasting your feedback. Because you were too busy, we're not lazy, we're busy. Let's say I respond to this student, okay, well done, your topic is blah, blah, blah. I wrote a very long one. And then I found another student did almost the same thing. I copy-paste the feedback and then I reply, right? Students start to detect this. Your instant feedback doesn't work anymore because they don't appreciate it anymore because you're just copy-pasting the same feedback. So feedback, when it comes to emotion, it's not just about immediacy, but it's more on the appropriacy. So later on I will share. Next. Oh yeah, a good example. This is very subjective. When you look at this, as a learner, how would you feel? Or how do you feel? Frustrated? Lost? Confused? Angry? Maybe no, maybe yes, depends. Some people love this because they love only text. But technically, it's not me to judge because you have to feel it first. You have to really navigate through and then you will tell me. If you judge based on my visual, it's unfair, okay? Some visual interface like this looks very crowded on the visual part, but when you navigate it, it's quite easy. So it's unfair for me to say this is good or bad. But this is the negative perception of having wordy interface. Next. What if I change that into this type? Wow, student will say, this look nicer. You know, I feel very happy when I see this. Or I feel motivated if I see this interface. Right? But you'll be surprised as they say happy, motivated, suddenly you'll get a large group of students say, I'm lost. I'm confused. Where should I go? Which one should I see first? Surprise, surprise. This happened to us too. We invented so much, we invested a lot of time to change the interface and all that. We discovered students, they don't really appreciate it. What they want is almost, how to put it, clear-cut kind of model. I log in, I see my courses, I go in, I see the notes, that's it. I don't really care about maybe my statistics, maybe. Right. Not all, but majority will tell you the same thing. If you want to try, you probably can do the same thing in your institution. Next. Okay, then we saw this particular study by Dylan, not by us, but similar. They were looking at student emotion and dropout in MOOC context. So they were looking at quite a number of MOOCs covering thousands of students, and they asked them some question related to their emotion. Look at the three red one: anxiety, confusion, frustration. They are quite high in terms of the correlational value. First thing when I introduce you new tool or new gadgets, right, it's always that confusion and frustration. Because you're confused, where should I go, what should I do? And then when you start to discover that there's so many things you don't know, you get very frustrated. Oh, I need to download this first, I need to install this first, I need to check this, check that, so many things to do. You get very frustrated. And then it creates anxiety because, oh my God, I cannot log in yet. My friends have been logging in for 3 weeks. I couldn't log in yet, so I get very anxious, all right? So all these are affecting the user behavior online. And, well, related to the speed just now, one of the reasons why MOOC has a lot of dropout is the loading time. Imagine loading openlearning.com during peak hours, right? For example, just so happen you are a new learner, right? You are so eager to learn, you go in Open Learning. When you type openlearning.com, took you about 5 minutes to load. Then when you click the login button, you couldn't even sign in. Do you think you will return to openlearning.com? Most likely later, but it will take you some time to go. One reason why Google always prioritizes speed, because every time you type something, you get instant feedback. Speed is always the in thing and in demand, all right? On on the top of the list. I'm not saying that you have to speed up everything, but make sure that you take that into consideration if you're developing virtual learning environment or even come up with virtual learning activities. Next. Time. Which brings me to what Steve Jobs has been saying for so many years until he died. Design is not how it looks or how it feels. It's more of how it works first. Then you will feel it. Because if it doesn't work, you won't feel anything. Talking about Apple, then we saw the new launch of Apple iPhone XS, right? How do you feel? Well, probably you are not so excited because it works the same as your iPhone X. It works the same as your iPhone 7. It works the same as iPhone 6, for example. You don't really feel excited anymore because it's still the same old stuff. But if I start to show you, for example, let's say Huawei P20 can actually have a better unlock speed, whoa, this is good. Right? You feel nice about it. You want it so much. Right? So it's about how it works, not so much about how it looks. I'm not saying you shouldn't focus on the interface design, but we should take less concern about all this interface design. We waste too much time designing beautiful banners, designing beautiful interfaces when we know students don't really care. Ask all the students, they don't really care how it looks, as long as they get what they want, right? Even us. When you go to a shopping mall, you don't really care how the mall looks like. If the mall sells you cheap stuff, if the mall sells you what you wanted, you will still return to the mall. Doesn't matter how the mall looks like, right? Next. Then the second most important factor is the need for challenges. I think Dr. Wahabi, Dr. Azidah, yes, mentioned about this. Students love challenges. I put that from pebbles to mountains. It has to be progressive challenges. All this while, people are talking about how do you design challenges in the virtual learning environment, because you don't meet them, right? You don't see them in class. You don't really engage with them physically. You see them virtually. Well, a challenge can always be as simple as the way you word it, right? I was talking to Dr. Hafiz about this as well. There's a thin line between being formal and being conversational. Some professors refuse to use conversational languages because they thought this is a formal setting. In university, you should be talking formally. You should not be using conversational tone, for example. And then Dr. Mizan was talking about cold, and warm, all this. Not everyone can do that, like what Dr. Mizan did, speaking through the what do you call that, the camera and all that, being so friendly, being so down, to the level of the students. Some professors refuse to do that, and you can't blame them because they come from a different school of thought and they have a different expectation of what university is about. That's why I think it has to be balanced, right? Next. Which brings me to this one. Imagine if you change the way you word the quiz. You say, woohoo, it's quiz time, people. Let's see how much you have learned from Unit 1. Instead of saying, this is the quiz for Unit 1. Press this to attempt the quiz. You have only 15 minutes. It feels differently. They still complete the task, but you will discover that students who engage this will did better than the other one. I mean, based on our data as well. It's not really conclusive, but it still gives a little bit of motivation to the weaker ones because they feel challenged. For example, you give them small challenges like this. You have 30 questions, but only 15 minutes. Think you can do it? Instead of asking them to do it, question them back, challenge them back. These are the challenges that I think we should include more in virtual learning environment. We always neglect this. We focus too much on the instruction, we forgot about the challenges, right? Like what Prof. Azidah mentioned, you have to make sure that each challenges are aligned to what we intend them to achieve as well. Next. Third one, because I have, this has been covered so many times, the need for feedback. I put it third. Our data show is number 3. And I mentioned that from automation to personalization. You have to strike the balance. Automation is the feedback that we use the LMS to provide. You know, LMS, sometimes when you answer the quiz, they will give the immediate feedback, which is pre-programmed. Like if you get 10 out of 10, well done, congratulations. This kind of automation. Personalization is where you personalize the feedback, like what Dr. Mizan showed just now, using video and all that, or the reply to the forum. Now, if you have a very small group of students, it's okay. You have time to read, reply every single posting, right? What if you have tens and thousands of students? How do you respond to every single forum, right? Or thread? You might need help, but if let's say you don't have help, you have to do it alone, then maybe you need to do a little bit of selective feedback. You choose whether you want to give collective feedback as a whole. Let's say you saw that this group are talking about the same thing. Then you say, feedback to these people together. Then they will know that they are asking the same question. Or, if you do not want to answer, I think you guys should talk to each other. Because they are asking the same thing. In other words, do not give feedback for the sake of giving feedback, because if you give instant feedback but they don't get anything from it, they will not be able to appreciate it. Right? I'm going to show you some sample that we kind of manipulate in our LMS and also some finding. Next. The automation part. You compare the text well done with a use of memes or even use of GIF. How many of you actually use this in your LMS or in your platform? We tested this out last year. It works wonders. Because by showing an animated well done compared to well done, the student get more excited and more motivated to do the quiz because they don't know what they get, right? So you can change the automated feedback. Instead of using only text-based, you might want to consider using this kind of options. I'm not saying this is going to work in your context, but at least worth a try. If you're innovative enough, like some lectures have shown, you can even record your own feedback if you want to. Meaning, if they achieve this certain level, it's automated, but pre-recorded in your Moodle or in your Blackboard or whatever, right? So instead of just putting well done. All right, next. Another one which is quite useful is audio and video feedback. We noted that students do not read your written feedback. And they feel very frustrated when, let's say, they submitted an assignment and then you give a very lengthy explanation, your expectation and all that. They don't really care, because after that they will bring the assignment Doktor, apa doktor cakap ni? Right? They will ask exactly the same thing that you have written there because they don't appreciate how to put it, written form, I guess. But if you try to change that using something like this, use any tool, there's so many tools now, video type of response, you actually kill many birds with one stone. Because if you have a few students having more or less the same standard kind of expectation, the rubric says that they belong to this category, then you might want to have a general feedback where all of them can take into account, right? If it's not too specific, very general feedback. But you pre-recorded it like this, showing your face or with a ripple. You can even record your tone, right, and all that. You can consider this, and we are doing on this, and somehow it works. Next. Okay, these are the videos that we investigated. You look at the list of specimens. This is what we do actually. We take a series of videos. It goes through a lot of process until we shortlisted them into 10. What happened was we will ask the same person to rate the 10 videos according to the scale of the emotion that we have, again, gone through the analysis and everything. And then we finalize the list. They just tick, right? And then if we need further clarification, we will ask the person to explain. Why do you think this is lost, right? Then they will tell us more. So this is the general or summary of the whole thing. V3, V4, V5, V8, V9 are all considered positive. Now, what are those V3, V4, V5, V8, and V9? Click. Okay. V3 is picture in picture. Picture in picture means when you overlay your face or webcam with another picture. Picture on picture overlay, all right? Usually what we notice is if you have a webcam with the slides, somehow that creates positive emotion. Students are so used, Malaysian students I would say, are so used to seeing you talking about the same thing on the slides. So they need to see that in virtual environment too. They want to see your face, not your voice only, all right? Number V4 is text overlay. If you were to have talking head, you like to talk a lot, no problem, but you need to have text. If you don't have text, they will be, disturbing, not so disturbing, confusing or lost. Maybe because of the accent and maybe because of the speed of your speech. But what surprises us with V5, we actually dissect V5, which I will share later. Han style. You know Han style, right? Have you seen Han Academy's video? No face, no beautiful visual, just scribble, 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 scribble all the way, right? If you look at V5 punya emotion, satisfied, curious, interesting, enjoyable, appealing, fun. And we were like, what is so fun about this? Mind you, we don't pick only one, we pick multiple disciplines, language, history, all different. And they gave us more or less the same thing. We found out it's not the style of that scribbling and all that, it's Salman Khan. It's his voice. His style of narrating influences the emotion, not the scribbling type. If I were to do it the same way Salman Khan did, I will not be able to generate the same emotion because the way Salman Khan did is different. I mean, if you compare this. So we dissect that. We realize, okay, we need another Salman Khan in our university so that we can produce more videos. But it can be trained, right? It can be trained. If you look at Salman Khan video, he also has a few series of videos teaching us how to be like him. But anyway, again, sometimes the emotion is not specific to only the type of tool, but more of the human touch. Then screencasting is also very popular, V8, and animation, of course. But if you look at Han Academy's video, it actually covers almost all the rest. Because Han Academy video has picture in picture, has text overlay, has screencasting method, and also has animation. So Han style is kind of like the benchmark of, not to say benchmark, the consideration that you need to give if you want to use or create MOOC videos or even any other videos for virtual learning environment. Is that, we do hope if you can, in your institution and all that, you can kind of like replicate the same style. Just take a few videos of yours and all that and ask students to rate, right? And see whether we get the same thing. The worst kind of video is talking head. Talking head means just the face talking, no text, no slides, everything, just the head talking non-stop, right? Okay, next. This is a typical Hana style video. If you see, there's nothing so appealing at first. I mean, in terms of the graphic and all that. But if you listen to someone Han explaining, you feel very engaged and very excited. It's the way he explained things. All right, next. I'm going to recap this. All this. So we're talking about the need for speed, the need for challenges, and the need for feedback. Speed is not just a matter of being instant or being fast. It's about reducing the loading time and reducing the learning time. Hopefully, if you were to develop an LMS or even any platform for MOOC, make sure the loading time is not too slow and the learning curve is not so high as well. If I go into, for example, any platform, I will be able to use it almost instantly. A good example would be all these instant messengers. If you look at WhatsApp, if you look at all these instant messengers, they are very clean. No extra features, they do what they can, and students are using it almost every day, right? Because there's no extra features. So you don't have to decorate WhatsApp with a beautiful icon, with a beautiful wallpaper. Nobody actually cares about the wallpaper anymore. I mean, because they get what they wanted. You look at Google, very clean, right? No extra visuals and all that. You look at Facebook, for example. Facebook is getting a bit annoying these days. That's why you see people are leaving Facebook because of the ads and everything. But if you look at the actual Facebook to begin with, it's very clean. The same with Twitter, very clean cut. So if you were to have a vision of an LMS, it should be like that. Clean, easy to use. You don't need to include extra features that we don't need, right? Challenges, make sure there are room for challenges, whether it's from pebbles to mountain means. It can be as small as asking them to do a quiz to even do a mammoth task of solving the world problem, right? Why not, right? Another approach that you can do if you are talking about LMS or virtual learning environment is to reverse the role. If they were complaining too much about your virtual environment, okay, let's flip this. Tell me, if you were given the chance to design an LMS, what kind of things do you want? They flip the table lah. See, and then you'll be surprised of the thing that they list out. Nobody gives a damn about the videos and the quality and all that. They only care about they get what they wanted, right? Then last one, feedback. I think this has been covered many times. Make sure that the feedback is clear and also almost instantly. I think that's all for the feel good session. Next, I think then. Yeah, that's all. Thank you very much for listening. Before your lunch, just nice.
Thank you, Mr. Chuah Kiman, for the interesting and beneficial talk. We surely have gained a lot from this tiring session. Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Madam Wan Narmi Azana to present Mr. Chuah Kiman with a token of appreciation. Ladies and gentlemen, our session with the next featured speaker will be at 2 p.m. We will break for lunch and Zuhur prayer and resume at 2 p.m. We will also have the closing ceremony at approximately 3 p.m. Thank you, and don't forget to visit our Petro Science IIUM, Open Learning Malaysia, E-Learning Minds, USM, UMT, UNISA, and USIM booth in the ICC building. Thank you.